Get ready to grow. Good evening and welcome to the program following what has been a wild week of Nebraska weather. Thunderstorms, hail, sleet, snow, ice. We've seen a little bit of everything, yet farmers don't get a day off. We'll talk more about that dedication coming up in just a bit. Marilyn Barnett will join us as well, our Grow co-host, to talk about challenges in the ethanol industry. And we will talk about the Nebraska State Fair. They refocused on agriculture with their move to Grand Island, and that's paid off as they now make plans to put up another building. But we start with a look at headlines, and that includes U.S. Senator Deb Fischer speaking out against the EPA. Senator Fischer says the agency has shown blatant disregard for farmers and ranchers. Her comments come in the wake of reports the EPA released personal information in response to a Freedom of Information Act request. Environmental groups were granted records that relate to concentrated animal feeding operations. Senator Fischer says, quote, "In releasing the personal and confidential information of private citizens and business owners, the EPA has shown no regard for their privacy and safety." In her words, the records request is an offensive abuse. Days after the EPA backed off on plans to furlough meat inspectors, they're also reversing course on more budget cuts. The U.S. Ag Department says it will not eliminate some monthly reports. The Ag Statistics Service said last month it would put several regular reports on hold because of federal budget cuts, including monthly milk production estimates. USDA officials say they've found other ways to continue those reports without added expense. Planting season quickly approaches in a time of great uncertainty. Not only are we coming off drought, we're now dealing with some wild weather conditions, snow, sleet, and hail that fell across the area this past week. That kept farmers like Kristen Klein busy. Here's more.
A great April morning.
Chipping away at the frozen tundra, Kristen Klein treads carefully while fixing a fence.
Oh, I just pulled it loose from the other end. One time I about fell right in the water, but I didn't, luckily.
Freezing rain, sleet, and hail pummeled much of central Nebraska. Kristen looks through his iced-over windshield, knowing there's always work to do on the farm.
I wish we had snow days. We can't call the boss and say, "Hey boss, is it a snow day today?"
It's been a season of extremes. The day before the ice, it hit 70. And even in mid-March, Kristen's kids ran around in shorts.
They're just loving life.
Now he's bundled up, trying to care for his animals.
Had a couple of newborn calves were kind of tailing off on the calving, but I had two of them that were born yesterday and about froze to death. Got both of them in the garage in the house under heat.
Not only do the Kleins raise cattle, they grow corn, and the seed should be going in the ground soon.
The calendar says we ought to be getting the planter out of the building, but I'm not sure that we're going to this week.
Farmers will take the precipitation, even if it did put planting on ice.
Because we do need moisture.
A week that started in the 60s should warm back up to that. This icy mess appears to be a brief detour, and farmers know that better than anyone.
Stick around in Nebraska, it'll change.
While Nebraska farmers may be getting anxious to get in the field and start planting, there's already some corn in the ground in Kansas. A weekly update says spring calving is nearly finished in Kansas, but cattlemen are still worried about having enough stock water. Only a third of Kansas has an adequate supply of water. South central Kansas welcomed rain in the past week, but drought-stricken pastures have yet to recover. 77% are rated poor to very poor. The Kansas Ag Statistics Service also finds 31% of winter wheat in poor to very poor condition. Nebraska's winter wheat crop has started to turn green with the warmer weather we had before the snow, but the soil remains exceptionally dry. The USDA said this week that the state's pastures haven't started growing much because of the ongoing drought. 2/3 of the state's hay and forage supplies are rated short or very short, and the vast majority of our state's topsoil moisture is short or very short. Only 11% of our wheat crop is rated in good to excellent condition. The battle over immigration is one many in agriculture are watching, but some in Washington think they may have arrived at a partial solution. Senator Dianne Feinstein says they've reached a tentative agreement over the issue of farm workers. It's part of the ongoing talks to overhaul the nation's immigration system. Feinstein, the California Democrat, did not provide details. The union for those farm workers had been at odds with many in agriculture over how many visas should be offered in a new program bringing workers to the United States. This development comes as a bipartisan group tries to deal with the estimated 11 million immigrants here illegally. While many dread April 15th as tax day, it's also a big day, the deadline to file for a seat on the Nebraska Soybean Board. Candidates must have grown soybeans in the last 5 years and be at least 21. The Soybean Board promises you'll visit places you've never been before to see how the soybean checkoff money is invested. If you'd like to have a voice on the board, there are 3 open seats. Candidates must collect signatures from 50 soybean producers to be eligible. Many Nebraska leaders are grown on the farm, and now there's an opportunity for 30 men and women to get the leadership opportunity of a lifetime. Applications are available now for Group 33 of Nebraska LEAD. LEAD stands for Leadership, Education, Action, Development. It's for those involved in production agriculture and agribusiness. Up to 30 people will be selected from 5 geographic districts from across the state. Participants attend monthly seminars and then take part in a 10-day national travel program, plus a 2-week international visit. The program is designed to prepare the spokespeople, problem solvers, and decision makers for Nebraska agriculture. It's a joint venture between the Nebraska Agricultural Leadership Council and University of Nebraska. Nebraska agriculture is diverse, much more than corn and cows. The Nebraska Department of Agriculture is currently accepting grants to grow specialty crops. Those are defined as fruits and vegetables, tree nuts and dried fruits, also horticulture and nursery crops. State Ag Director Greg Ibaugh says more producers are exploring these options. Proposals are due April 19th, and it is a competitive grant process. Technology is helping the beef industry connect with professionals, even consumers. And yes, there's an app for that. It was developed by a UNL professor. The benefits reach out to more than just animal science students, but producers, veterinarians, even chefs and consumers.
The user the opportunity to look at cross sections of the beef carcass and identify the specific muscles that we find in the carcass. And then also there's some chemical and physical information about each muscle. Understanding the muscles and the anatomy of the beef carcass helps us in retail cut identification. The other thing is that the information about the muscles, each muscle is different. Some are tender, some are less tender, some have a little more fat content in it. We can use that information to be a little more innovative and develop new cuts that can be and identify the proper way in which we should prepare those.
The app is available in the Apple iTunes App Store. Anymore, every student, it seems, has an iPad or a cell phone. Now, the Nebraska Corn Board is using that technology in the classroom to help educate kids. Here's more.
Agriculture is Nebraska's economic driver, and the Nebraska Corn Board is embracing the industry by offering iPads for ag literacy. Joining us by phone tonight is Kim Clark, the Director of Biofuels Development. And Kim, can you tell us more about these iPad grants?
The idea for the grant started because we see a disconnect in our school systems about agriculture. Nebraska ranks nationally within the top of all the states in livestock production, red meat production, ethanol production, and corn production. And we need to make sure that our students have an understanding of agriculture and can explain it to their peers and then take it home and explain it to their families.
And how exactly will these iPads be used to ensure accurate ag education is being implemented?
The first requirement, I guess, that we have for the iPads is to allow us or another agriculture group to come into the classroom 2 times per year. Spend about 45 minutes with the students doing a lesson with them on different areas of agriculture. In addition to that, we will send out a monthly electronic agriculture letter that will have a short lesson that the teachers can use or a video that can be played. We even have several board members that use their iPads to FaceTime or Skype with students. So that's also another option that we have.
Now, when will these iPads be awarded and handed out to the winning teachers?
They will be receiving the applications for use within the next school year. So we want to be able to personally deliver the iPads to the schools. So we're still coordinating our schedules, and we're still waiting on a few logistics before we move forward with awarding them.
All right, Kim from the Nebraska Corn Board, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we'll send it back to you.
Nebraska has grown to become one of the nation's top ethanol-producing states, but that industry faces challenges. Marilyn Barnett is in next with more.